Its headlines: bombing murder suspect Rudolph to face death penalty charges in Alabama. Phoenix bishop admits sex abuse cover-up. President Bush set for high-stakes Mideast summit. Also tonight, cloning or conning. They claimed they cloned a human, but are they or are they not really out to make dollars multiply? And the red-hot red wine that sells for just $1.99.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. After 5 years on the run, suspected bomber-killer Eric Rudolph is now beginning a journey through the American criminal justice system, a journey that could lead to his execution if he is convicted. The man wanted in the deadly bombing at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics was arrested over the weekend by a rookie cop in North Carolina. And tonight, Rudolph is in Alabama, where he'll be tried first for a murderous bombing there at a Birmingham abortion clinic. CBS's Mark Strassman begins our coverage in Asheville, North Carolina.
Eric Rudolph is no longer phantom, no longer shadow. Finally captured, he's skin and bones, and not much more. After an epic flight from justice, today he finally flew to it, inside this Black Hawk helicopter, and over his mountainous hideaway for nearly the last 5 years. In Asheville's federal district court, he admitted he was Eric Rudolph, the suspected serial bomber. Judge Lacey Thornburg, "Is that right, Mr. Rudolph?" Rudolph, in a firm voice, "Yes, Your Honor." Assistant U.S. Attorney Jill Rose read aloud all 21 counts against him, which could carry the death penalty.
He is not guilty of the charges.
Sean Devereaux, Rudolph's attorney, says his client is not the extremist many Americans believe.
You know, he's a reflective individual. I mean, he's got a lot to think about. He's been through a lot.
If prosecutors have their way, he'll go through a lot more, starting in Birmingham, Alabama. Rudolph will stand trial here first for this 1988 bombing of a women's clinic.
I think the feds want to win right out of the box. I think they want to go to Birmingham because they think their case there is stronger with an off-duty cop killed and with perhaps an eyewitness who can link Rudolph to the crime in a way that no one in Georgia can.
Georgia, where Rudolph will also stand trial for this fatal blast during Atlanta's Olympics and 2 other explosions. In a written statement, Attorney General John Ashcroft said, "Our approach is designed to provide the best opportunity to bring justice to all of the victims of the bombings. That includes Emily Lyons, blinded in one eye by the blast in Birmingham."
To know that if indeed he is guilty of these crimes, that he has that much hatred in him, I want to see it.
By one estimate, government agencies spent at least $24 million trying to find Eric Rudolph. Prosecutors may now spend millions more trying to convict him. Dan?
Mark Strassman reporting live in North Carolina. CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart in Washington covers law enforcement for CBS and has been following the Rudolph case from the start. Jim has the latest now on what is known about the 36-year-old suspect.
They're still selling bumper stickers near the Natahlia Forest that say "Run, Rudolph, Run," and Eric Rudolph, North Carolina hide-and-seek champ. But as Rudolph began the journey from fugitive to likely death penalty defendant, federal lawmen today were still not amused. Former ATF agent Jack Killorn spent 5 years looking for the man.
This is a person whose crimes differ only in a matter of degree than the crimes of September 11th. These were deliberate attempts at mass murder.
Nor do lawmen forget that they were the likely targets. That 9/11 call before the Centennial Park blast.
There is a bomb in Centennial Park.
That was just to sucker cops into the killing zone, they think. The next attack at an abortion clinic was actually 2 bombs. One to summon police, the next to blow them up. And as for those Army of God letters stating a philosophy, lawmen don't buy that either. He's accused of bombing a gay nightclub, yet he has a beloved gay brother. He professes to hate abortion, yet his mother says he never mentioned it. He denies the Holocaust, but can't explain why. He flirted with the white supremacist Christian identity movement but never joined. He did join the Army and took copious notes during explosives training, but then he got bored, agents say, and smoked so much dope he drew an early discharge. Back home, he was known for just hanging out in the woods and renting video movies nonstop.
Mr. Rudolph seems a person who lived kind of a hand-to-mouth existence as a carpenter, and it's hard to find a job that he held and held successfully.
About the only two things Rudolph ever did excel at, lawmen say, was growing marijuana and building bombs. The dope was potent and the bomb showed a learning curve. The last one was set off by remote control. Jim Stewart, CBS News at the FBI.
There is a major development in another high-profile criminal investigation, this one of sexual abuse by priests. The latest case involves the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Phoenix. CBS's Bill Whitaker has that story.
In the most candid admission by a leader of the U.S. Catholic Church, Phoenix Bishop Thomas J. O'Brien, in a signed statement, said for decades he knowingly allowed priests accused of sexual misconduct to work with children and transferred others where children could be further victimized. The county attorney says he's investigated 70 cases of priest sexual abuse around Phoenix. O'Brien's admission came only after authorities threatened the unprecedented filing of criminal charges against a bishop.
There was sufficient legally admissible evidence to indict Bishop Thomas J. O'Brien with obstruction of justice.
A legally binding agreement reorganizes diocese leadership, gives money for abuse counseling, and forces Bishop O'Brien to relinquish much of his power. A stunning fall for a man who just months ago claimed a clear record and conscience.
I've served the church for 21 years as a bishop and 41 years as a priest, and my record is pretty clear.
Victims of priest sexual abuse long had prayed for this day.
Other children were molested directly because of the decisions he personally made.
Since allegations of sexual abuse and cover-up hit the headlines last year, the Catholic Church reportedly has paid $1 billion in damages to victims. 7 bishops have resigned. County Attorney Romley says he was shocked to learn the Pope refused to accept Bishop O'Brien's resignation.
This is a very serious, deeply embedded problem with the church all the way back to Rome.
To Rome, it's a forgivable sin. To the state, it's a crime. Yet despite it all, Thomas J. O'Brien still is Bishop of Phoenix. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
President Bush is in the Middle East tonight at a Red Sea resort in Egypt for talks tomorrow with Arab leaders from around the region. The meeting will set the stage for a peace summit Wednesday in Jordan, attended by the Israeli and Palestinian prime ministers. CBS's John Roberts is with the president in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. John?
Dan, there will be no attempts to shoot the moon at these summits, no attempt to achieve any kind of a grand breakthrough. But President Bush will be looking for bold commitments from all sides to take the first baby steps along his roadway to peace.
There is still plenty of room for failure, but so far everyone is making the right noises. Arab leaders who arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh tonight are expected at the White House's urging to throw their full public support behind Mahmoud Abbas, the new Palestinian prime minister, a move that could permanently sideline Yasser Arafat. At a second summit in Jordan Wednesday, Israel may announce it will begin dismantling some of its controversial settlement outposts, a key requirement of President Bush's roadmap for peace. There will also likely be new pledges to provide for Israel's security and a move to ease the economic plight of the Palestinians.
President Bush believes it is critical for Mahmoud Abbas to be seen as a player, given a similar stature as other Arab leaders. That's why President Bush is expected to, not immediately, but perhaps later this year, invite Abbas to the White House, an invitation he never even considered extending to Yasser Arafat. Dan?
John Roberts reporting live from Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. In Iraq today, U.S. Administrator Paul Bremer promised to recruit soldiers of the disbanded Iraqi army for a new military force called the Iraqi Corps. But hundreds of out-of-work veterans marched through Baghdad saying they need their back pay now to feed their families. In Iraq tonight, CBS News correspondent David Hawkins reports U.S. forces may have found some prohibited Iraqi weapons.
At a sprawling Iraqi secret police compound east of Baghdad, U.S. soldiers are guarding a site suspected of containing Iraqi chemical weapons dumped and buried just before the war. 2 weeks ago, CBS News accompanied American MPs to the site and spoke with a woman who says that 3 days before the war started, she saw men in chemical suits burying containers here. After the bombing began, they came back several times in the middle of the night to check whether the site had been hit.
They're wearing chemical suits?
The woman's son and two of his friends told her story to American soldiers on May 15th and showed them the location. Last Tuesday, a chemical investigation team came to this site, dug up the material, and took some of it away for analysis. Now it's off limits while they determine exactly what's here.
They said there was some stuff coming out of the ground. When it hit the air, it evaporated. They went in there, they had their readings, they had their machines, they had a couple hits on their machines, and they came back the next day with the full team, and they got in their space suits.
A letter from the U.S. Army given to the Iraqi men who tipped them off says, the 3rd Infantry Division investigated the field and found chemical weapons in the exact location the men had described. But after several previous false alarms, the Army's not yet calling this find evidence of Iraqi weapons of mass destruction, and is describing the material found here as toxic waste. David Hawkins, CBS News, Samadiyya, Iraq.
An investigation by the U.S. Justice Department finds many foreigners detained in this country after the September 11th attacks were held far too long without charges under, quote, unduly harsh conditions. A 200-page report says the FBI failed to distinguish between detainees who might have ties to terror and others who, so far as can be determined, only violated immigration laws. Violating immigration laws is, of course, a crime. But the point of the new report is the FBI procedures, the report says, did not fit that crime. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America investigates the group that claims it cloned the first human. Wait till you see what the group is claiming now.
Ask your doctor today if Lipitor is right for you.
Tough heartburn? Try Extra Strength Mylanta. Nothing's faster or more soothing than Extra Strength Mylanta, the liquidator.
We don't mop together, but just about everything else.
I owned the Swiffer Wet first, and then the Clorox Ready Mop came out, and I don't have my Swiffer anymore.
Swiffer Wet just won't get out greasy stuff as well as the Clorox mop.
With a Clorox mop, you can squirt the stuff on it, and it's done.
It does it in one sweep. You can just push it at an angle, it goes around corners. It cleans it without trying.
Clorox mop, hands down over the Swiffer Wet. Any day.
See it grow. See it succeed. If you have an idea, a plan, a dream, see it with CIT.
When it's finally time to move on, the new Saturn Ion Quad Coupe has a 140 horsepower engine, rear access doors, and a fold flat seat, so you can fit your bed, your bookshelves, your coffee table, your TV stand, and your chairs, which leaves just enough room for your desk. Get a 2003 Saturn Ion, L Series, or View at 0% APR financing for 5 years. For restrictions, see your retailer.
Our road trips were the best until he couldn't read the map with his regular contact lenses. And wear reading glasses? No way.
Bausch & Lomb introduces soft lens multifocal contact lenses, a unique design clinically proven to let you see clearly, near, far, and in between.
See how beautiful this place is?
Do I ever? Ask your eye doctor for soft lens multifocal contact lenses from Bausch & Lomb. For 150 years, perfecting vision, enhancing life.
On the CBS Market Watch, a report out today says the manufacturing sector of the U.S. economy contracted in May for the third straight month, but it contracted at a much slower pace. Wall Street took that as good news, adding to a 3-month-old rally. The Dow picked up 47 more points today. The Nasdaq lost 5. Another business development today could affect what's on television, radio, and in your newspapers. The FCC voted to ease limits on media ownership, a change favored by big media companies, including Viacom, parent of CBS News. Among the key changes, any one company may now own 3 television stations in a single large city, 2 stations in many other cities. Also increased the number of television stations a company may own nationwide. And in many areas, a single company may own a TV station plus a newspaper in the same city. Opponents say it just means more media will be concentrated in fewer hands. Supporters say the old restrictions were outdated because they say consumers now have so many more choices. There are new allegations against the group that claims it cloned the first human. What the group is now claiming it can do is under federal investigation. Meanwhile, CBS's Jim Acosta has the results of his own investigation in tonight's Eye on America.
Remember Clonaid, the self-proclaimed human cloning company spawned by a UFO cult?
The first baby clone is born.
These days, it's cashing in on its outrageous claims. Just go to Clonaid's website. Human clone, $200,000. Human eggs, $5,000 each. Cell fusion devices, $9,000. Clonaid is also recruiting American investors. Marketing director Thomas Kanzig appeared at a recent venture capital conference.
We know we've been criticized a lot
asking people to invest in Clonaid. But there's one big problem.
It's not a company. It's not a company.
Attorney Bernard Siegel learned that from Kanzig in a sworn deposition.
I think Clonaid is a sham. I think it's a scheme to get money. I think the public should be warned.
Clonaid doesn't even have a street address. When we wanted to talk to Clonaid about its status, we were asked to come to Montreal and meet Clonaid's CEO at a hotel.
Clonaid is not a company, it's a brand name.
Clonaid's CEO, Brigitte Boisselier, admitted to us she is the subject of a federal investigation.
You know, I received letters from the SEC. They're asking questions.
You're concerned about being prosecuted?
Not concerned. Not concerned because I think I have 5, 6 lawyers working full-time on different continents to preserve everything.
How much money would you say you've raised from investors?
Well, enough to operate.
Is it over $1 million?
Over, yes.
$2 million?
It's not important to answer those questions.
She says her bases are covered because she's not seeking investments from Americans. Tell that to Mark and Tracy Hunt. They invested $500,000 in Clonaid to build this cloning lab in West Virginia that was shut down by the FDA. The Hunts wanted Boisselier to clone their dead son.
They bought equipment and they kept the equipment. That's all I want to say, okay?
And you think they're preying on people? Well, that's right.
Preying on the desperate, Bernard Siegel says, with a website that offers hope.
When it says right here, the first human cloning company, aren't you lying to people? Because it's not a company. You said yourself it's not a company.
Well, I said clonaid.com. This is a website.
Boisselier also dodged requests for proof that Clonaid ever produced a clone.
Are you a con artist?
It's so funny because, well, you don't know me, but how can you go in front of all the world and say something like that if it's not true?
To make money. To make a lot of money.
You should look at my car. Look, I've been spending all my money to do those babies.
Brigitte Boisselier says she's setting up a new lab on a Brazilian island to produce the next generation of baby clones, away from U.S. investigators who suspect Clonaid has gotten the cloning scam down to a science. In Montreal, this is Jim Acosta for Eye on America.
A few years ago, I get this pain. It's no big whoop, just a little heartburn. Yeah, a burning, piercing fireball right here. So I cut down on the foods that bother me. I changed my diet. I worked out. Even my mom tries to help.
Son, try sleeping on an incline.
So I slipped some 2x4s under my bed. Oh yeah, my wife really loved that one. Then I started drinking that chalky stuff, popping acid reducers, and it all helped, but the pain keeps coming back 2-3 days a week. Okay, finally visit my doctor. He says it's acid reflux disease and prescribes Prevacid to help prevent the acid and heal the damage. So I take it like he says, and guess what? It really helps stop the acid pain. How's that for a happy ending?
Prescription Prevacid actually helps prevent acid where it starts by turning off many of the pumps that produce it. Prevacid has a low occurrence of side effects such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. Ask your doctor for more information and if Prevacid is right for you. Help prevent the acid with Prevacid.
I'm up, but this arthritis.
The moment of choice. Tylenol or Advil for arthritis pain.
Advil's my choice.
Advil liquid gels rush long-lasting relief where you need it. Gentle on your stomach, too. For fast relief, advance to Advil.
We don't mop together, but just about everything else.
I owned the Swiffer Wet first, and then the Clorox Ready Mop came out, and I don't have my Swiffer anymore.
Swiffer Wet just won't get out greasy stuff as well as the Clorox mop.
With a Clorox mop, you can squirt the stuff on it, and it's done.
It does it in one sweep. You can just push it at an angle, it goes around corners. It cleans it without trying.
Clorox mop, hands down over the Swiffer Wet. Any day.
Now you can help manage your diabetes anytime, anywhere. This is Glucerna, an ideal food for people with diabetes. Have a delicious snack bar or a meal bar or enjoy a rich, creamy shake. Glucerna has the right balance of carbohydrates, fat, and protein. It's clinically proven to help manage glucose levels. And for free personalized meal plans, visit Glucerna.com. It's time for a taste of freedom.
I'll get this. Getting a really low rate on this card.
With the wrong credit card, your rate could blow sky high. Get the Capital One No Hassle card for the nation's lowest fixed rates.
What's in your wallet?
It sounds incredible, but Diane lost her home insurance simply because she owns these prize-winning Dalmatians.
Dalmatians were on the dangerous dog list.
And Diane's not alone. Could your best friend cost you your home insurance? An Eye on America report tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
On the Weather Watch, rain on top of spring snowmelt combined to produce some serious flooding in Colorado. The damage could keep a long stretch of Interstate Highway 70 closed to traffic through tomorrow. The floods also forced hundreds of people out of their homes in Colorado's high country. Overseas, southern India is suffering through the third week of a deadly heat wave. More than 1,100 people have died, with daytime temperatures as high as 120 degrees. Normally, monsoon rains ease the extreme heat, but the rains in India are late this year. In the Baltic Sea, diesel fuel from a Chinese freighter that sank Saturday is now threatening the Swedish coast. The ship went down after colliding with another vessel. The crew of the sunken Chinese ship was rescued. In London, Queen Elizabeth II marked 50 years on the British throne with a Thanksgiving ceremony at Westminster Abbey. That was followed by a garden party on the grounds of Buckingham Palace. And a Russian rocket launched a European-built spacecraft to Mars, the first of several robot explorers bound for the Red Planet this year. This one, called Mars Express, carries a landing probe named Beagle 2 for the 19th century sailing ship that carried Charles Darwin to the South Seas. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, they say it's tasty and it sells for just $1.99. The phenomenon of what wine lovers call $2 Chuck is next.
Oh, hey, hi, I'm Digger. Don't mind me, I'm just a dermatophyte. You know, a nail infection. All I want is to get in here and live under your nail. You can't get me with clippers or those surface treatments you try on your own. I'm in too deep in your nail bed. I'll make myself comfortable, invite a few friends. Settle in.
Do you have thick, discolored, or flaky nails? Millions of people do. It may be caused by an active live infection. That's why you should ask your doctor about prescription-only Lamisil. Unlike surface treatments, Lamisil is a pill that works through the bloodstream to target and attack the infection at its source, underneath the nail. In fact, you can start to see clearer, healthier nails in just 3 months. Lamisil isn't for people with liver or kidney problems. Barely serious side effects in the liver or serious skin reactions have occurred, so your doctor may do blood tests. Other side effects including headache, diarrhea, indigestion, and rash were generally mild. Ask your doctor about Lamisil. It's the #1 brand for treating infected nails. Once daily Lamisil tablets. Get your nail infection where it grows.
Ask your doctor today if Lipitor is right for you.
Hey, I guess somebody's had a busy day today. Well, make sure back pain doesn't cramp your schedule tomorrow. Grab a Thermacare air-activated heat wrap before you hit the sack. It gets warm and stays warm, deeply relaxing tight muscles. So circulation flows in, helping pain flow out. So, by the next day, you're moving and grooving. Oh yeah, all day long. Thermacare heat wraps. Wrap yourself in relief.
Introducing a new overnight laxative, Freelax. These have stimulants that can disturb your system and cause cramps.
Freelax is different.
It's stimulant-free and cramp-free. It's new, different, it's Freelax.
It works overnight and no cramps. Freelax.
You know, ever since we discovered Beneful Healthy Weight Formula, I'm the only one with love handles. Ever seen anything like it? Me neither. It's got wholesome grains, real chicken, and natural soy, even vegetables. So there's protein with soy to help you keep those muscles while you lose a few pounds. Who would have guessed Calorie Smart could taste so good? Yeah, you may think you're getting spoiled, but check out this physique.
Healthful, flavorful, Beneful. New Beneful Healthy Weight Formula by...
Coming up in just a few minutes, how Nashville could be affected by a new FCC decision. We'll have the story on News Channel 5 at 6.
Finally tonight, Thomas Marshall, who was Woodrow Wilson's vice president, famously remarked that what this country needs is a good 5-cent cigar. Nearly a century later comes the wine lover's equivalent of that. CBS's Jerry Bowen reports from Los Angeles.
It's the California wine
Best Buy
with the cult following.
Charles Shaw is known in local circles as $2 Chuck.
Humble $2 Chuck, the $1.99 nectar of the gods that is sinfully cheap and good.
Better than the boxed wine we used to drink in college. Same price.
A full year after flooding the market, largely on the West Coast, it's still being sold by the case to wine lovers who can't get enough.
How long can it last? $1.99, right? Yeah. Every time I come there, thank God there's one. And here, look at it, it's huge.
Even the New York Times wine critic sees it as a sort of blessing.
It rates along with any other $2 bottles of wine, of which there were almost none.
Happy birthday, Patty!
And now, between toast, the origin of $2 Chuck has become the stuff of urban legend.
An airline that had gone out of business or had over-purchased for their first-class passengers.
Or that Charles Shaw is a big-hearted billionaire
who wanted to expose the proletariat to the finer things in life.
Actually, it's an overabundance of grapes that's made Charles Shaw cheap to bottle, an estimated 5 million cases so far, easily outselling more famous brands like Mondavi and Gallo in California.
And Charles Shaw, it's a wine label owned by one Fred Frangia, a distant relative on the Gallo family vine. A reclusive businessman who's long been considered a pain in the neck to California's wine establishment.
Franzia controls scores of brands and labels, including Charles Shaw, that undersell the prestige vineyards. And $2 Chuck is just his latest broadside.
We have others up our sleeve we think are even better coming out.
In the meantime, he's trying to make one of those urban legends a reality. Remember the one about the billionaire?
It's an interesting legend. We don't have any billionaires around here. Yet.
But he's getting there, $2 at a time. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather inviting you to join us again tomorrow for the CBS Evening News. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, log on to cbsnews.com. This is CBS.
Straight ahead, a brutal murder in a small town. And the suspect isn't even a teenager yet.
Another dead end for Abu Ali Abdur Rahman. We'll tell you why the latest effort to stop his execution has failed.
And a bizarre accident left him fighting for his life. Metro Councilman Adam Dredd now tells us what he remembers about that terrible experience.
From your news and information leader. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. Vicki Yates has the night off. A brutal murder, a confession call into 911 dispatch, and a very young suspect.
They all play a key part in a bizarre murder investigation underway in Smith County. On Friday, dispatch operators received a call from a 12-year-old boy. a 12-year-old boy who reportedly shot and killed his father's girlfriend. Today, the suspect appeared in court in Carthage. News Channel 5's Leslie Coons has the stories and the exclusive pictures.
He was led into the courthouse under tight security, the youngest murder suspect ever arrested in Smith County, a 12-year-old boy.
The District Attorney General's office can ask to be tried as an adult or a juvenile, but the judge will make the decision on it.
That decision could take days in a case where this 12-year-old reportedly shot and killed his father's girlfriend, 37-year-old Carolyn Green, in this house, then called 911 and confessed.
He said it wasn't no accident, he meant to do it on the 911.
It's a crime that shocks and saddens this longtime neighbor.
We had finished our evening meal. I was loading the dishwasher. My husband had gone in the bathroom to brush his teeth, and he saw all the patrol cars, and he said, "What's going on next door?"
The 12-year-old shooter was a student here at New Middleton Elementary School. Neighbors describe him as a good student. They say, in fact, he just received an award for perfect attendance at the end of this year. But they also say he was very troubled. One neighbor tells us he witnessed the murder of his own mother at a very young age. Winnie Hunt was the dispatch operator who talked to the boy when he called Friday.
So I asked him, I said, well, was it an accident? Because I thought maybe if it's an accident, he could be hurt. You've got to cover everybody, you see. He said, no, he, pretty much meant to do that. So that was probably the calmest call I ever took.
Leslie Coons, News Channel 5.
After his court appearance, the boy was taken to the Tennessee Mental Health Center in Nashville. Another hearing scheduled in Carthage late next week. The suspect's name is not being released because of his age. Now, even though he isn't even a teenager yet, the boy in Smith County is not the first 12-year-old in Middle Tennessee to be accused of murder. 12-year-old Terrence McLaurin was arrested back in 1997 for killing a Nashville man. McLaurin was tried as an adult. He ended up pleading guilty to second-degree murder. He should be in jail for several more years.
Well, the latest effort to delay the execution of Abu Ali